Surprise, surprise, I'm live on Monday. Hope everyone's doing good. Talk a little bit about Mondays here in a minute. See if anybody hops on first. So we'll let that first minute or so pass. Let guys jump in here. Q&A anytime I'm on. So you guys got questions, I got answers. You guys can ask them in the chat. We'll move into a call-in at some point. Actually, that might be a lot of fun, right? Do some call-ins and stuff like that. Let's see if my chat is working today. Let's see what we got going on. All right. But yeah, Mondays. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Mondays and why they're important. It's a day. It's a day in the week. We talk about things that we got coming up, of course. Here we go. All right. Cool. Got you guys in the chat. What's up, dudes? Sweet. And my chat's working. All right. Yeah. So just wanted to jump on real quick. Wanted to catch you guys early. You guys want to mosey on over after I'm done. It won't be that long. Around 8 o'clock EST. My buddy Rich Cooper's got his show he does. The Unplugged Alpha. It's pretty damn good. So I'll plug him first off and just say, go head over there. That's pretty fun. Let's get to a question right now before I get to the topic. What do you think the real reason is for divorce? I think is what you're saying. Well, I mean, there's lots of reasons for divorce, man. You got to be a little more specific. Like what's the real reason divorce exists? Or not sure what that's a really broad question, bro. So I need a little help on that. So expand on what you mean for that. So let's see. But yes, that's a question here, kind of. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. So yeah, type more. Tell me what you mean. Yes, it is. October 22nd. Who's tracking? What happens on October 22nd? That's Friday. And obviously Nick knows what happens. We'll talk about it real quick. So Friday is my first course. Yay, right. I've been working on. I got a number of things that are going to just start just sort of, avalanching us into the new year, which is great. A lot of fun. I know people are waiting for this one, but this is talked about it last week, Wednesday, so won't get too far into it. But it's the Alpha Mindset course. It's a drop-in Friday just for the email list only. So those who are on my email list, okay, that's you guys will get an introductory exclusive offer, and then it'll open up to the public at a higher price point after that. It is a digital course, so that particular thing is a buy it and keep it and reference it. It's 50 modules of things that will help you solve problems and get your mind to where you need it to be so you can get whatever it is you want to get in life. But it's the essence really of becoming what we conceptualize as that alpha. Being that alpha dude has everything to do with how you approach the world with what's going on up here. Okay, there's guys who are 5'3" that are alpha as hell, right? And there are guys who are 6'5" that aren't. All right, it's a mindset. It's not so, and it's behaviors. It's behaviors that show up because of your mindset. And so the Alpha Mindset course is 50 modules on how to pretty much solve, I would say, all problems. I mean, roughly speaking, if in terms of where you need to get your headspace at in order to solve problems. So that's probably a better way to explain it, because you have to action things and do things to solve your own problems, right? Of course, and to get goals and to get what you want, you have to do the actions to do it. But your mind has to be in the place to optimize that action. You can't be sabotaging yourself. You can't be having negative input and biases that prevent you from pursuing what you want. You can't have anxieties or fears that prevent you from taking the right action. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. If it was so easy as just like, hey guys, like, do the work and then the things will happen. Yeah, that's true, but why is it not that easy? How come we how come we don't always get what we want, right? If it was that simple, why isn't it just that? Because we don't know what work to do sometimes, and sometimes or more often than not there's some sort of barrier up here that prevents us from taking the actions we need to take. This course will help you remove those barriers and will help you embrace that alpha mindset that you guys want. Essentially, I get that question all the time. How do I become more alpha? Guys, schedule sessions with me because they have these behaviors that they don't like, and they're showing up with those behaviors in their relationships. They're showing up with them at work, socially, all over the place. They want to get rid of those things. They want to adopt new, better behaviors so they can be more that alpha dominant person in their in their social circles in their life and start getting what they want and all that stuff, right? I mean, that's what people want, right? That's what everybody does want. And so this course is going to get your mind right for that, but you got to get on the email list. I'm now sending out emails from the list. I sent one out last week and then had to go play army, do some military stuff for the weekend, and I'm going to log on tonight, send another one out, and then the rest of the week you should be getting one. And it's all going to be like, I don't spam you guys. I really am not going to do that. I will throw in offers and let you know about stuff, obviously, but it's not just to sell or grift things. The stuff I will send you will have value in it, I promise. And if you're on that list, you're going to get offers for things at better prices because you're loyal. You're a loyal subscriber, loyal follower. You've been supporting me, and I appreciate that support. And I want to help you guys do better. And so Friday is that time. That's the plan. So far, so good still. That's the plan, though, is we'll be dropping that course first thing off, right? And so what do we got here? Dark Past presentation was a great value. 007 got mad game. Hell yeah. Thanks, bro. Thanks. That was John over at Modern Life Dating. Had a really cool course. I enjoy giving presentations for his group. So, hold on here. Developed a little kennel cough. Can I say the end? No, no, no. You can't. Especially if you look like that. This is your profile picture, and you're 8 years old. No, you can't. Where's your parents? Creamy Lars. Anyway. Yeah. So what are we going to do here? No more. I haven't heard yet about more on the divorce question. So I told you guys about that course again. There's a membership program too that's going to come up. More things to come in November. I'll give you more details on that, but we'll focus on the thing, which is that the Alpha Mindset course. So yeah, that's happening. And now let's talk about Mondays a little bit, right? Anyway, some of the guys in the chat are making me laugh. So yeah, Mondays. Here's the thing. You know what is the biggest indicator for me if a dude is like, we'll say I don't like using pills all the time, like I don't care what your pill identifier is really. There's plenty of people out there that don't even know what a red pill is, and that's fine. Like people get really caught up in this stuff, everyone's coming up with different color pills. It's a little bit weird, actually. A little bit spurgy. It's a great analogy, and it's turned into something weird for a lot of people. But using that red pill and blue pill analogy, what tells me if a dude is still that blue pilled plugged-in guy? A good indicator is how he thinks about and talks about Monday. So think about the average, like blue pilled beta chump, usually married to someone who doesn't want to have sex with them, and is he's a nice dude. You like the guy, you want to see him do well, but he's just plugged in and he just doesn't. He's just living a life in a prison. He's living that life of misery. How that dude talks about Monday, that's what usually is an indicator for me on whether that guy is living like a blue-pilled slave or whether he is actually pursuing excellence and trying to make the most out of his existence here on this earth. Monday is my favorite day of the week. All right. Now, most people, though, look at Mondays like, oh, I got a case of the Mondays, like Office Space, right? Oh, someone's got a case of the Mondays. That's kind of how most people in the westernized world treat Mondays. Oh, back at the grind again on Monday, right? What does that mean, really? What does that mean? Well, where we talked about intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards last week, if you caught that episode, right? What they're saying is, I am working and slaving at this job that I either hate, or I'm just not that excited about, so I can live for my evenings, weekends, and occasional vacation. That is the message that they're sending. And of course, saving for retirement, right? That's what all the baby boomers did. And it's Jerry's in the house here. Um, yeah, they go on a bender for 2 weeks, and then Monday they're like, "Oh, right." But why? Why? Think about it. Why are we going on benders, right? And so, you know, it's because people are doing that. Not that having like crazy awesome weekends aren't awesome. I live a life of having a real good time a lot. Now, I'm not into like crazy substances or anything. Like, so I'm not railing coke off some chick's some stripper or anything like that. That's not my life. But I get to do a lot of crazy stuff, have some fun though, right? I've got a very full social life and schedule. And that's a good thing. All right. That's a good thing. But I want my Monday is still my favorite day. You know why? Because for a guy who's not living like a blue pilled slave, Monday represents promise and potential, right? Monday represents a new week where I get to accomplish more stuff. It's a fresh start where I get to see how much I can accomplish before people take their days off, most people on that Saturday, Sunday, right? Before I etch out some time for my social life or for my family or whatever. And it's that way because I enjoy my work. And it was that way even when I wasn't doing this, right? This, I thoroughly enjoy what I do, helping men out, helping you guys out. It's like the best thing I could be doing, in my opinion. But I was not the only job I've ever had in life. I've had a series of other careers that I did well in them. It wasn't like I was, not doing well. And some of those things, like my real estate career, there were times it was pretty grueling, especially during the spring. You're working these crazy hours, and it can be grueling. That said, though, I found a way to enjoy my work intrinsically, rewarding myself for the effort, not because I was focused on some goals and things I wanted to accomplish. And I knew that the things that I was doing, even the grind stuff, was getting me closer to those things. And it was part of the process. And that was exciting to me, even when I was suffering through some of that. Because I know, like, you're not always going to, even if you're working your dream job, it's not always going to be a dream, right? There's going to be times where you're grinding a bit. Okay. When you want to accomplish things and get things, you're going to go through some pain and hardship to get there. And that's okay. But can you find enjoyment in that pain? That's the question. And we used to say this all over the military, special operations world, as well as conventional forces. We're talking combat arms mostly here, right? Embrace the suck. I talked about embracing the suck. And we used to find ways to have a good time while we were getting smoked or physically miserable because we're out in the field and it's just dragging on. We're low sleep. We find a way to have positive attitude. Now, the special operations community, whether it's, pick any branch, any version, MARSOC, SEALs, CAG, Special Forces, whatever, Rangers, right? Any of them, they select for men who, I said men too, that's gonna really trip people out. All the woke are gonna be mad. Women can do it too now. Blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. we know the reality behind that, don't we? But soldiers were selected for their ability to embrace the suck. They weren't necessarily taught that, although you learned it better when you were in those communities. But the guys who could really find that intrinsic reward and not get all wrapped up in the goal and then making the situation they're in more and more miserable for themselves, that's who got picked. Guys who could have that good mental attitude during the effort, even when that effort sucked, they were selected. Okay. I mean, there were a number of other characteristics as well, but that's one major characteristic that got them selected over the other people who didn't get selected, is that they could maintain their mental focus and motivation when they're doing things that are miserable. All right. And they could embrace that suck and reward the effort. So even if you're grinding it out right now in a job that is a means to a goal, and it's not the end state for you right now, being able to embrace that suck and find the enjoyment in that process. Hey, knowing it's not forever, knowing you're going for something greater than this, but also knowing that, hey, this is motivating. I'm doing this every single day because it's getting me where I want to go. I want to do more of it. I want to do more of this painful thing that I'm doing right now, whether it's coding or making cold calls or whatever it is, right? You want to do more of that thing because it's getting you to where you want. And that's the reward. The reward isn't, man, I just got to make it to Friday so then I can go on a bender, right? Because that goes back to intrinsic versus extrinsic reward, right? The extrinsic reward makes the effort harder over time. We talked about the neurological aspect of this and how dopamine works. If you have to psych yourself up for the activity and then wait and then, I'm going to reward myself at the end. Now I did it. Well, when you have to go back to that activity week in, week out, again and again, day in, day out, the actual effort becomes more difficult and the rewards have to get greater and greater to keep your motivation up. And you run into a point where you can no longer really motivate yourself because you can't get any higher without really damaging your life with those rewards, which, by the way, is why a lot of people turn into heavy drinking, heavy drugs, stuff like that on party weekends, drinking in the evenings because their day sucks. Their day and their vocation and their purpose, which is their purpose in life, the value they're providing to others, sucks. So they have to keep increasing that reward at the end of it in order to go back to the suck and then make a living off of it, right? And then they do that until they finally retire. That's called being in a prison. Now, the blue-pilled world tells men to do that so that they can take care of some woman and her goals and take care of kids. And by the way, having a family is great. And I'm not saying not to have a family. And I'm not saying not to take care of a woman either. Okay. But it's putting those people as your purpose in life. Everybody else's stuff becomes your reason for self-sacrificing. And that is the essence of beta. Because an alpha knows that what he has to offer and the impact that he has is more important than other people's bullshit. And so he's not going to sacrifice that impact in his vocation and what he is doing because he knows it's important. He knows it has value. He knows that that's more valuable than some other person's complaints or needs or wants or this and that and the other that he's supposed to now sacrifice himself for. The alpha that's on his mental point of origin, he can have that wife and kids too if he wants to. Well, he could have multiple women if he wants to, right? He can kind of design his own life, and that's the point. But even if he has that conventional situation, let's say Christian marriage, couple kids, it's on his terms. And he's not sacrificing himself in order to have those things, which means he shows up better, right? He's a better dad. He's a better husband. He's a better friend. He's a better person in his community because he thoroughly enjoys what he's doing because he knows that it's his passion and he's making that impact in the world. The beta prisoner who's created a prison for himself has the safety, sure, safety of his 401k, safety of his job. It's perceived safety though, right? Because you can get laid off anytime. And this today companies don't take care of you. You're basically, even if you're hired in somewhere, you're a private contractor, basically, because they can let you go at any time. But these guys like the illusion of safety. So they create a prison around themselves, sacrifice their purpose for everyone else, and that's what they think makes them valuable, which means that they have already reserved or resolved themselves to be the weaker and less valuable of men in society. That bottom 80%, they've resolved themselves to be that, decided that's what I'm going to be now. And I'll take this job I don't like, but I'm going to do it for everybody else, right? And I'm not saying don't work and take a job that you don't like, of course. But are you taking a job you don't like because it's going to get you something that get you to where you want? Or are you taking it because you're sacrificing yourself for everybody else? Now, the guy that's sacrificing himself for everybody else, you know what he's doing? He's living for that quiet, little bit of, his television program or his Netflix special in the evening. He gets through the day so he can do that, have a beer. He gets through the week so he can, have his weekend or whatever. Do whatever he can do on the weekend as long as his wife lets him. Right? And so these are people who are miserable. They're living in a prison that they've created. It's of their own design. And it shows. And they're the ones who show up going, oh, I go, it's Monday again. Right? They're the ones who hate Mondays. They're the ones who don't like to wake up and get their day going. And they're the ones who are really going to suck you down if you let them influence you too much. And I'm not saying don't be friends with people because they're different than you, but just be aware, right? Be aware of these things and don't let them pull you into their reality of Monday sucks and can't wait till I take my vacation, next month. And oh, what are your plans for this weekend? Well, I'm just going to fix up the house, but maybe I'll get to go and watch the game. Right? That's the prison, the safe prison for people who are trying to find happiness in misery. And they design that for themselves. So don't do that. All right. And if somebody gives you that thing, oh, Monday again, and they talk about Monday like that, that's a clue to you that they're plugged in. All right. And that they are living out this prison of their own design. And what I suggest for you guys, even if you're not where you want to be yet, even if you're going to a job that sucks because you have to pay the bills, that's fine. I've done plenty of that. That's good. But be excited about that. Be excited about Monday. The whole week has potential. If you're doing something that sucks, good. Embrace it. Because now, congratulations, by the way, if you are, because now you have a goal, if you didn't already. And that's to design your life and find that thing that you really are passionate about that makes you start the day on Monday going, wow, it's Monday again. I'm excited. There's a lot. Let's see how much I can get done this week. Let's see what kind of impact I can make this week. That's somebody who's not in that prison, possibly, right? An indicator anyway. All right. So make Mondays badass. I hope you guys had a good day today. If not, well, make tomorrow better, right? That's it. And have a good week. Now, I'm going to go into questions. All right. I'm not leaving yet. So I see the chat's blowing up. That's good. Let's see what we got. All right. So I'm going to back up. What's good? Monday's good. That's what's good. Good, man. I love it. My workouts are they're there. They're a little minimal right now, though, if I'm being real. Just because I'm loving what I'm doing, and I want to get this course out. I want to get some stuff out for you guys, but this week into next week, I'm really going to be hitting it hard on the workouts. That's kind of an important thing, you know. Mondays are okay because they're the second day of the week. Sundays suck. I guess if you're in Israel, Mr. Wrong, okay. You need to embrace Sunday. That's right. I know you guys do your Sabbath on Saturday. I know that very well. You might notice I got some Hebrew on my arm. You guys can guess what that might say. Oh, can you see it? I don't know if you can. Anyway, you'll have to catch me. You have to catch me in person. I'll tell you what it means. Making money Mondays. Hell yeah. Exactly. Got one guy's a weirdo in the chat, so I'm going to ignore that guy as a weirdo. What's this? I haven't read it yet. Thanks for answering my question last week. You said you'd go deeper into it this week. Uh-oh. Dating a single mom that's very attractive, cooperate. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Let me try to answer this a little bit. I'm going to be on live a bunch this week. I'm going to try to, I know for a fact Friday will be at noon. That's where I got scheduled in my calendar. And I'll do some announcements, but I plan on being live a bunch this week. So, okay, here's the thing about single moms, right? This is the problem that you need to look at. All right. And this is why people in the red pill community rail against it. I'm kind of indifferent. I say I'm indifferent. It's like this. Excuse me 1 second here. Oh. I was in freezing weather for 4 days, so I got a little bit of a cough left over now. Lucky me, right? So here's the thing about single moms, right? And I'm not going to just like rail against it in the same way because I want people to approach this a little bit objectively. All right. But there's, because this could be like this, I could really talk about this for hours. So I'm going to try to sum it up. The problem is you're looking for the potential to have a great relationship, right? And when you're dealing with a single mom, here's what happens. The essence of the problem, and I don't think anyone's really explained it like this, is that her instinctual drive shifts once she has those children. So pre-children, her instinctual drive is to find the best dude she could mate with. And when she finds that guy, assuming that guy is you, then you become that that point of origin for her, right? You become the center of her relationship. And then she complements your life and she works to do that. And you complement hers with your leadership, your presence, and the things you guys develop together in a relationship. And then, okay, kids happen. Those kids are a part of that family unit now you're building, right? Women who are banging dudes and spitting kids out that belong to other dudes, they're not really in a family unit at that point. Not really, right? And what's happening is this. Their mind shifts. Instead of the guy that's leading the relationship as her focal point for that relationship, the kids now that are not yours become the focal point. And it makes sense because she has to take care of them and she's mom, right? And that's how she's genetically wired. I'm not mad at her for it, but that's the reality. And it should be that way for a lot of reasons. But the problem is you're no longer the focal point. Those kids are, which means this. She is willing, her first priority now, her main priority is to find the beta guys who will provision for her now. She has dependents And that means that she is looking for a provisioner. Now, I don't care if she has a job and she can take care of herself and all that crap. That's not the point, because it's an instinctual thing. It's not, has nothing to do with the logistics of it. You know what I mean? She can make more money than you. That doesn't mean she doesn't want to be led by a man, right? And that doesn't mean that she doesn't look for the provisioning qualities that when she seeks out a mate. So she automatically puts herself deferring to what strategic pluralism is. So strategic pluralism is where you have, she's going for the dude who is the best, the most alpha guy she can find, the best genetic match for mating. And then from there, okay, she can't find that guy who will, oh, by the way, who she can keep around, who will provision for her. So she wants it all. Women want it all. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. But that's what they want. What does a woman want? She wants everything. All right. An absence of being able to get everything, though, she falls to strategic pluralism. We've observed this in the animal kingdom, and we observe this with human beings. And this is the most common relationship dynamic, which is she is banging dudes and having enthusiastic sex with the guys who are the alphas, right? That's the alpha lays, right? And then she's settling down with the guy who can provision with her. And that guy that who's offering those provisioning for her isn't as exciting, or she doesn't have that love or care for that dude to that degree that she would for those alpha guys. Definitely doesn't have that excitement. And so this beta guy relationship and marriage situation that she gets herself into, in absence of being able to have everything, right? That situation becomes a situation where it's transactional. And that means that she is going to try to get as much as she can out of it while giving as little as possible into it. And this is where you have the situation of a guy who hates Mondays. See how I did that? See how I did that? I circled it back around. He's brought it right back to the topic. All right. So now you're going to say to yourself, well, yeah, dude. And I'm not reading the comments right now because it's going to throw me off of my focus. Yeah, dude. But she loves me for me or whatever. And she thinks I'm the best. I'm her alpha. How do you know that? Now, I'm not saying you're not, and I'm not saying you are. But I'll tell you what, I'm consulted with a lot of guys, and I will tell you this. Guys love to tell themselves stories. They like to tell themselves stories to justify their biases because they have ego investment. And I don't know if that's you or not, but I'm just saying, okay? And so you got to be aware of that, because a single mom will put on very convincingly the act of pining for a dude as if he's the alpha guy and making that guy feel amazing so that he can commit to her and provision for her and those children. And then once he starts doing that, the attraction in the frame goes right away. That's the essence of the problem. Now, I've seen it where guys have hooked up with a woman. Usually she doesn't have like a whole bunch of kids from different dads or anything, but she might have a kid, didn't work out, made mistakes, and it works out really well. I've seen that. I'm not going to sit here and say that can't happen. Okay. But what has to happen is she has to be able to and be capable of suspending her innate desire to put that kid before you. Because in order for that relationship to be the one that you would want, you have to be at the helm. So she has to put her 100% trust in you as a leader and as a father. Now, granted, you're not genetically that dad, but she has to give up her authority to you over that child. She has to give up the authority in the relationship to you because you're the alpha. If she's not doing that, don't tell me that I'm the alpha here and that she sees me as her best and all this stuff. Best she can do for now, maybe. Best she can do now that she's older with a kid. She might have thought differently 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever it was. Might have thought differently when she was younger and single. See what I mean? And if that's the case, it ain't going to work, man. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. She has to be able to suspend that instinct to be a mom first. And that sounds messed up. And it feels messed up, even me saying that, doesn't it? But she has to be so sure and so in your frame that she gives up her authority to you. You're now new dad and new leader of that relationship. And you have disciplinary authority and say over the child and say over her. Now, if you turn out to be abusive and crazy or something, yeah, she can reverse that, of course, right? That's what divorce is for, Mysterio. One of the things, is that if it's a protective measure. All right. We're not under Sharia law here in the Western world, thankfully, because I don't think that's a good idea. All right. So if you were to turn out to be that crazy person who's very abusive or whatever, yeah, she can reverse it. But and unless that happens and the break, she has to go south because of that. So, assuming that's the only like exception, right? Is that you're so bad or toxic or terrible, you know what I mean? That she has to actually break that frame, break out of that frame and take her kids and go running for the hills. But let's assume that's not you, right? So it's not going to be the thing. I don't even think that would be. So that's not it, which most of the time it's not. She has to be able to give up that authority. How many single moms are willing to do that? Doesn't matter how good she makes you feel. Doesn't matter what she tells you. Doesn't matter how enthusiastic the sex is. Now that you're not married, like, you're not provisioning for her completely, right? Yeah, sure. Now it's enthusiastic. She'll do all that stuff. I mean, look at Stockholm syndrome. Look at women who get captured by terrorists and fall in love with their terrorists. Okay, they can completely fall into someone else's frame for a moment to get their needs met. That's solipsism. And once those needs are met, which is you're now the provisioner, what do you think is going to happen? Are you sure you're the alpha? Are you sure you're the best that she can do or has ever done? So I'm not trying to bring your anxiety up, man. I'm not trying to tell you you're doing the wrong thing. But now you know the problem with it. That was a question you asked, and that's the answer. And it's probably not the answer you want to hear because she's probably a great girl and she probably makes you feel great. I've been with great girls who made me feel great that I had to walk away from because it wasn't going to work out. For it to work out, she has to give up that authority and be in your frame 100%. She has to pick you over the children. And I'm serious about that. And that sounds crazy, but it's not. Because if you're the type of man who would be a good father who she should have had a kid with. I mean, think about it like this. If you were with her and you had a baby with her and that was your family unit, wouldn't you have that authority and that if the polarity is there and the sexual dynamic is right and it's a good, healthy marriage, wouldn't you as a man have the authority as that husband and as a man? That, of course, I know the state doesn't grant you that, but I'm talking about within the relationship, that she would perceive you as that. Wouldn't you have say over what happens? Not that she doesn't have input, of course she does, but wouldn't you have ultimate say as a man if it's a healthy relationship and you have frame and you're the husband, right? All that would be true, correct? So why then would it not be true? Why do you sacrifice that to be with some girl then? And give up because you're giving it up, dude. You're going to turn out, you're going to be talking to me in a year or two going, or you'll be man, no, Mondays suck or whatever. That'll be you. No, I'm just kidding. I hope not, right? I hope not. And so, hey, you do you. If it's the right choice for you, man, you do it. Don't listen to the people on the internet. If marrying this chick or taking care of her kids, being with her is the best answer for you, God bless you. I want you to do what the right answer is. But I suggest that you don't delude yourself, man. And that I also suggest that for the success of this thing, that for her success as well as yours, you need to make sure she's giving up that authority to you voluntarily, that she's picking you first for her sake and for the sake of her kids instead of picking her kids first. That's the number one thing. There are other issues, and I could talk about this for hours. There are other things, but that's the main thing. Because if everything else is perfect, but that element isn't there, it ain't gonna work, man. Period. And that's why they may not know it. They might not explain it the way I'm explaining it, but that's why. Okay, that's why guys say it. All right. So cool, man. That was good. I'm glad I got to you know, help you out. And I'm glad. So that's what I'm here for. That's what these live shows are here for, man. I'm here to help out. So I wish you the best of luck, dude. And you know, if you're making it work with her and it works out and you're happy, she's happy, God bless you. That's awesome. Well, I'm not going to tell you, oh, don't do that, whatever. No, it's good. All right, it's good stuff. What the fuck? Yeah. All right. Cool. Anyway, let's see. I gotta go. What time are we? Oh yeah, I gotta bounce. Gots to bounce. So I'll be on a bunch this week though. All right. Opinion on microdosing Cialis, quick thing. Yeah, so microdosing Cialis is good if you have blood flow issues. It's really good because it's a vasodilator, and there's like no real consequence for side effects on microdosing it. All right, so we're not talking about taking 20 milligrams of Cialis to get boners and walk around with boners all day, and then you become reliant on it and can't get a boner on your own. That's Sterling Cooper, porn star extraordinaire, talks about that and why you want to not do that. But microdosing is different, and it does help your blood flow, and it does help clean out a lot of stuff because it's a vasodilator. So as men age, especially if you have what we call thickening blood or a high red cell count, you want to donate blood if you have a high red cell count. And just microdosing Cialis is just a nice way of keeping that blood flow and those all your pipes clean. We'll put it like that. So there's a little question and answer, right? So I see more questions, and one about intermittent fasting. If I start to go down these roads, guys, we're going to be talking for the next 3 hours, and I can't right now. Maybe the next one. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. You're the best. Thanks for the support, and make the rest of the week great and awesome, and happy Monday.